everybody, welcome to Kimmel's Irish Pub. Time for another movie review. Tonight's movie, Devotion. So this is a movie about two pilots during the Korean War who they risk their lives, of course. Anytime you're a soldier, that's kind of what you do, right? But they become some of the most decorated wingmen or pilots in history. Glen Powell is in this, who was in Top Gun Maverick. It was funny, I saw somebody else say this, all this guy does is make airplane movies. Jonathan Majors, I think they're the two pilots that we're talking to. Looking at it, other than Jonas, who's in this, I don't recognize anybody else in it. It is 2 hours and 19 minutes long, so good for the weekend, which it is. 6.7 on IMDb, and only 6,483 people have rated it so far. I thought it would be a lot more people would have rated it, so I'm kind of excited. I always wanted to be a pilot growing up. That didn't happen, but so we'll see. I was a little too young to join the Korean War, but anyway, so let me get into it, find out what it's about, give you a better idea, let you know what I think. Stick around. Hey everybody, want to do a quick check-in here. We're watching Devotion. We're at the 1 hour, 18 minute, 8 second mark. Kind of neat. So about an hour left. So well over halfway. Sorry for not checking in sooner. But honestly, it was really slow moving in the beginning. It's all the backstory, the development of the characters, which I always think is important, but for some reason I wasn't drawn in. I wasn't too interested. I don't know why, right? So it takes place in 1950, and so the one pilot is Glen Powell, the other pilot is played by Jonathan Majors, as I mentioned, Jesse and Tom. There are two main characters, right? Well, Jesse is a black man in, the Navy right now in the 1950s. So this is, as you can imagine, there's some struggles there for him. They go over to France and stuff like that, and it's just not welcomed because it was back then, and whatever, which is awful. But that's kind of like what's kind of going on now. Jesse's married, has a child, doesn't drink, very humble, has been persecuted his whole life. Now Tom, we don't know too much about him, but he's a really good pilot, and he's his wingman, and they're building a friendship together. And then we got the other guys in the group, and Jonas is one of the other pilots. And essentially they're going over to Korea to help, with the Korean War. Really, that's all it is. But they're building up the backstory for our two main characters, really mainly for Jesse, not even Tom so much. I mean, not a backstory on Tom, it's more about character development, what kind of guy he is, and he's a good guy, wants to be good to his wingman, defend him and stuff like that. Now Jesse's got the backstory kind of showing, more about what he's gone through to get to where he is today. That's really it. Like I said, I was on my phone more than I had to actually stop. I had to force myself to stop because it just, I don't know. They have Elizabeth Taylor, they meet Elizabeth Taylor, which is kind of cool. But now, right here, just a couple minutes ago, it started to get into some really flight action. So some dogfights, if you will, are happening now. So I'm thinking it's going to pick up a little bit more. But that's why I didn't check in right away. We'll see where it goes. So stick around. I think I covered everything. Yeah, I'll be back. Hey everybody, we're at the credits of Devotion, and I'm going to share with you as much as I can, and I want to get into some spoilers. Not really, my kind of spoilers, stuff that I'm going to talk a little bit more about it, but, and I'll be vague, but I'm not getting there yet. So, really, this story is, it's supposed to be about the two, the two main pilots, right? Glen Powell and Jesse is his actual name. But Tom is Glen Powell's name. Jesse's the black pilot's name. Anyway, it's supposed to be more about their friendship and their camaraderie of getting along. Showing the struggles, but really it's about them too. And I don't know if it's because like when I did the check-in, how it didn't captivate me. It didn't pull me in that whole first hour. It was just, I don't know why it didn't. I mean, it's not like I'm in, you know, the right frame of mind. I was excited to watch this movie. It just didn't do it for me for whatever reason. You know, and I got the gist of it. Now I'm wondering if I missed it, because I know that now that's the important part of it, is that relationship was the whole thing about this. I didn't know, you know, coming into it. Is it supposed to be about their heroism? Is it about you know, him coming over, you know, overcoming racism, you know, that kind of thing? Like I didn't know what the whole point of the movie was, but you know, the point of the movie is their friendship, to be honest with you. And for some reason, not that you couldn't tell that they were friends or good friends, it just wasn't, you know, there's other movies that make you feel like, oh my gosh, these guys. I mean, it's honestly, I mean, hate to compare the two movies, but Top Gun, the original, the only, Goose and Maverick, right? I mean, they were best friends. Like, you felt that somehow, you know, in a limited time that they gave you, you felt that. In this one, I didn't get it. I know they had to build it a little bit more, because in Top Gun, they're already together, right? So there's no development. Like, these two people just meet at the beginning of this movie and they have to develop that friendship. But it doesn't get there for me. I don't know why. I apologize. And that's a major, major point in this whole movie. And to see what happens to go forward, and if you don't get that in the beginning. So when you check this out, let me know what you think. There's another piece too that I'll share with you before I'll speak a little bit more openly, but the limp. I tried to Google it because I thought, okay, again, maybe I'm missing something, but like, maybe not in the 1950s, but when I tried to become a pilot, you have to be in top physical shape, right? You have to be a certain size, a certain weight, you have to have, you know, everything. And Glen Powell's character limped the entire movie. So I might have missed that point early on. I never caught it. I tried to Google it to see why. But I don't know. He limps the whole time. So I don't know what happened there. That just baffled me. But, and that's all I could say right then and there. I have to get into spoilers to talk a little bit more. Now again, I'm not going to ruin the ending. I will try and be as vague as possible. But just in case, I don't want to tip my hat too much. If you haven't seen it and you want to see it without any more information, I am going to talk a little bit more openly. So, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Now, if you've seen it, or you don't really care, like my father-in-law, he doesn't care, I'm going to talk a little bit more openly. So, the first thing that comes to mind was the fact that Tom, Glen Powell's character, doesn't visit Jesse's wife. Right? So what does that tell you? When I go back to before I started announcing spoiler, that whole friendship thing, really, she specifically asked him, she said to be with him, you know, but I take that as, you know, protect him, bring my husband home kind of stuff, although that's not the word she said, but that's what I take it. And the fact that he doesn't go and visit her at all, 1. 2, he gets some sort of medal. He got grounded, right? He didn't, I mean, sure, from what we see, shot a plane down. Which is great. I mean, maybe if that's all that happened. And I know he led them into the, you know, into Korea. But, like, I was just shocked by that. Like, you know, I don't know. You know, he didn't, I don't. There's probably more to it that we didn't see that happened and stuff like that. But I'm judging the movie, not the real life story. I love the fact that it's based on a real life story, and I didn't even say that they do have pictures of the real heroes on there, which is great, and words that happen. There's just something that's missing from this movie for me that disappoints me, because I really, really wanted to like it, and right from jump, I wasn't drawn in, and then you get to the end, and I'm like, what? What did I, you know what I mean? Like, there's certain aspects there that maybe that's the true story. I mean, maybe this is like more true than, you know, when they commercialize everything else and make it, you know, movie worthy. They add in all these things that I'm talking about right now, and that just didn't happen. And there's more stuff to it that I didn't see. So I know I'm all over the place on this one. I apologize. maybe it's a second viewing, but that's what I get from the first viewing. So that's it. That's all I got. I can't talk anymore. I'm sure I took up enough of your time. Check it out. Let me know what you think. Thanks for tuning in. Kimmel's Irish Pub.